Food. Something that sustains us. Something that builds us up and carries us into the future, keeping us productive and healthy. Food is what makes us, us. Without it, we humans are left to struggle and to bear the unnatural feeling of being hungry. And being hungry isn't natural. However, according to the USDA in 2016, 41.2 million people living in America are food insecure, and that number continues to climb. It's even more prevalent in the northern Minnesota city called Duluth. Duluth's food insecurity problem affects 20% of all households. That's 8% more than the national average of 12%. My name is Ben, and these numbers really got my team thinking. My team consists of 3 other communication majors from the University of Minnesota Duluth. There's Anna, Brenna, and Eden. So, it only seemed logical for our team to investigate the area of Duluth regarding the high levels of food insecurity. The first place we decided to start, food banks and food shelves. Food banks and food shelves take in millions of products and donations every year, ranging from fresh produce to canned foods, all of which are given to people who seek out assistance from them. Since this whole investigation started with food and the large number of people who feel hungry, our team decided to dive deeper and ask a question we feel hasn't been touched on much, and may be a question the average person would want to avoid. We are curious about whether or not the food provided by emergency food programs is enough for people to live happy lives, and whether or not that food is of good quality. To really give a concrete personal answer to this question, we will actually attempt to live off an emergency food diet and see if it works for us. So, let's start at the top, as in the place where food shelves get their food, food banks. In particular, the Second Harvest Food Bank in Newtown, Minnesota, which is just a small town outside of Duluth. Let's go there and see if we can get more information.
My name is Kelly Johnson. I am 26 and I've been working for Second Harvest Northern Lakes Food Bank for almost 2 years. So I studied counseling in school. It was a pre-counseling program, but it was a lot of social work and nonprofit type work. And food bank and the food shelf, they're different in that a food bank distributes bulk items to food shelves so that they can give directly to their clients. And so it's a little confusing because the food bank actually houses a food shelf, and so once a week we're open to the community, but throughout the week most of this food that you see here is going out to our 180 different programs that are across the region. We try our best to give at least 7 days worth of food. That's kind of the rough estimate. 7 to 10 days is what we believe this is supposed to, or we hope this is supposed to share for. That's something that we would like to continue to increase. But because we are only supposed to be a supplemental food shelf, I would say while you can survive off of that, it would definitely, you would need to span it out. So we actually have a breakdown. We keep track of how many people are coming through that are different ages, and so based on that, I would say that it's the 18 to 64 range is our largest amount, but then a lot of them have kids, and a lot of the families are 4+. And so we get food that we secure, what we call secure and rescue food donations from all across the region. We have large donors like Upper Lakes Foods, Super One Foods, Walmart, Sam's Club, and we have trucks on the road 6 to 7 days a week that are going to these different donors, and they're picking up that food to bring back here to then be very quickly redistributed to other places, and some of those places are our own programs. We do see a lot of canned and boxed goods here, but the way that food banking is kind of going is we're getting a lot more fresh produce, and that's only going to continue to grow. A lot of what you see here is stuff that there was either there was a bulk amount of it that couldn't be sold, or one of the funny things that happens a lot here is we'll get stuff. We joke that we celebrate all of our holidays a little bit later because so say stuff has been on the shelves for Valentine's Day. It obviously can't be sold anymore, but it's still great product after the holiday, and so we'll get a lot of that stuff. The fresh produce that we get, it's usually like right at that point of it not being retail value. If it's coming from like a Super One or a Walmart or something like that, it's coming to us right at the point where they are not able to sell it. But places, some of the donors that we get stuff from, they will have a bag and there'll be one bag potato, and instead of taking that bag potato out and replacing it, they'll have to get rid of it, and so we'll actually get some of that. So we'll get a whole bag of great potatoes. There just happens to be one bad one. So I would say that our food is very quality. Some of it has to be sorted through, and our programs know that that's going to be something that they might need to do on their end. We're called an emergency food shelf, and so that means that we're there for the times when something comes up that's unexpected in your house, and it might be a loss of a job, or it might be a hospitalization. There's quite a variety of things that would bring somebody to come to a food shelf, and a lot of people don't know that they actually do qualify to come and get food.
Whew. That was a lot of good information, but we want to get more specific and look at food distribution from the food shelf level, since they are different from food banks. We followed the food from Second Harvest and ended up at CHUM, the local food shelf in downtown Duluth, where we ended up having a chat with the director, Scott.
I've been at CHUM for 2.5 years, originally from Colorado. And in Colorado, I worked with homeless teenagers. The majority of our clients are predominantly white. Majority of them are from 18 to 64. Predominantly our food comes from donations and from Second Harvest Food Bank. They run a truck 6 days a week, and then we have the opportunity to grab what we need off of that truck. So we served a little over 1,300. This past month in March, we did a little over 1,200. So it fluctuates. January and February donations drop significantly, which is scary because our numbers this year didn't really drop. They just continued to rise. So it averages somewhere between, probably safe bets, probably about 1,150 to probably about 1,300 individuals every single month. Here, about 70 to 80% of our clients now come every month. Clients are allowed to come once a month, and in that visit they get a 5-day food supply, and it's based totally on numbers of people that are in their households. And since we're a client choice model, well, basically what happens is they have the choice of what they pick. So when it comes to like grains and carbs and stuff, they have all of this to pick from, and they might have 17 points to utilize. So somebody in their family might want rice, and somebody might want noodles, but they don't want cereal. So if we're pre-packing boxes, normally if you pre-pack a box, you'd give everybody a box of cereal, you'd give everybody whatever. So they might need more rice. So that point system allows them to utilize more points for rice. An average person, like if it's a single person, they'll walk out of here with somewhere between 38 and like 44 pounds of food for a 5-day food supply. So if you take that and multiply that by 4, so if you're walking out with 40, you're walking out with 160 pounds of food, which then becomes another issue for us, and that's the transportation issue. Obviously, none of us could probably walk out of here with 160 pounds strapped to our backs. I think a long time ago it was a short-term solution. I think it was originally where we were an emergency sort of location where people would come and grab stuff when they necessarily needed it. It's become more of just sort of a standard thing these days, which is sort of a scary thing. We're just sort of the monthly visit to the food shelf. There is no real, people are stuck and stagnant in the situations that they're in, and they're finding it harder and harder to break that cycle. There are certain food shelves that really get into the fresh stuff, and they really push the fresh stuff. They're really big on the nutrition side of things, but those are the same food shelves that are turning away donations of bottled water, because technically there's no nutritional value in water, right? It's just water, except for the fact that you need water to actually survive. So you can go extremes that way. You can go in extremes of people that just don't want to deal with fresh stuff because of the nuisance of having to sort it and go through it and weed out the good versus the bad. Everybody deserves to have a snack or, expunge what they want to eat, right? So if they want pudding and soda, everybody should be allowed to have pudding and soda, despite if they can afford that to buy it themselves or not buy it themselves. The goal is to just pretty much feed people what people want and what people need. So the goal of us is really just to feed people. It's not to try to push our values or our needs down somebody else's throat.
Whew. Now, we may have gotten a lot of information from Second Harvest and CHUM, but the thing is, neither allowed us the opportunity to experience a food shelf diet. This is obvious because none of our team is actually food insecure. So, our focus had to change. Our last resort for gaining the experience we are searching for is through a federal program used by people who are food insecure as a supplement to their food shelf food. Even though it's mainly used as a supplement, it easily can and has been used on its own to fight food insecurity. The program I am referring to is called SNAP, which stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. We talked to Scott at CHUM, who has some more information regarding SNAP benefits.
Basically, it's a pretty easy application to fill out. You fill it out, you take it to the county. They determine based on your need, your number of people in your household, your income levels and all that stuff, what sort of your range of benefits can be. And I think, it varies. I mean, obviously, like I said, you can have a single person that's, 65 and gets $12 a month, and then you can have people that get all the way up to like $400 or $500 a month, depending on their family situation. The most underused SNAP participant are seniors, and literally like 70% of seniors that should be on SNAP don't ever actively get it. About 93% of our clients are using SNAP as well. I don't think anybody can solely live off an EBT card. The cost of food continues to go up. Agricultural subsidies will automatically increase, which means farmers are having to charge more money, which means fresh produce is going to cost a whole lot more than it does now. So having those SNAP benefits allows them to utilize, if they want really fresh stuff and really great stuff from the grocery store, they can go utilize that SNAP benefit for the fresh products and then utilize us for some of the mundane stuff, the soups and the macaroni and cheeses. There's so many people that are insecure with food that places like me wouldn't be able to sustain the demand if the government totally just wiped it out.
Well, there you have it. It's obvious SNAP would be the easiest to replicate since it has to do with the grocery store. So, that's exactly what our team did. And here's how we did it. We decided to find the average amount of money given to a family of 4 per month. That number was $456. Because we were only doing our projects for a week and not a month, we divided up that amount by 4, leaving us with $114. Then we had to split this amount among the 4 of us so we can shop separately since we all live in different areas, leaving us each with $28.50 for the week. Then, we each went to Super One.
What's my breakfast this week?
Today, we're doing my 1 week thing for my class, and we had $28.50 to go out and buy a week's worth of food. So this is what I came up with based off of SNAP diets. So here we go. We got a loaf of white round bread, 2 pork chops, a dozen eggs, some creamy peanut butter, a gallon of milk, a can of kidney beans, a box of noodles, instant oatmeal, the mandarin oranges, and then we have ragu. Got an onion there. We have some cut green beans, mixed vegetables, a tomato soup, a chicken noodle soup. Totaled out to be about $28 something.
I wasn't able to get cheese and sandwich meats, so I don't really think I'm going to be able to have a lot of the foods the way I like to have them. I like to put cheese in my eggs, and I won't be able to do that because I don't have cheese this week.
And that I had to get more like canned foods or like big meals, whereas normally I buy things that I can like eat throughout the day. With this, I had to eat more like big meals and then not really snack in between. The other thing I found is that when we were grocery shopping, it took way longer because I was on my phone like calculating how much money I had left, and like as I was going I was like adding each thing and then being like realizing like, oh, this is not worth the price if I only have like this much money left.
Looking at the items that I have, I'm realizing that it's really not that much for a week. I don't know if this is actually going to be enough. I just hope it is. I just hope it is for this week.
It's 9:30 now, and typically I will have another meal around this time. if I eat an early dinner. I don't know if I have a meal now if I will be without food in the future of this week. So I realized I have to reassess and kind of think about that. I also got to choose my own food at the grocery store. I wasn't constricted so much that I couldn't choose what kinds of canned goods and I even got to pick some fresh produce.
Good morning. So it is the morning of day 2, and for breakfast I'm going to be having a packet of oatmeal, 1 egg, and a glass of milk.
So this is my lunch. It's probably about 3 o'clock right now. I haven't eaten today. I'm pretty starving, must say. And this is all I have to eat until 6:30. So today's not going so good.
I was sitting in class, sort of thinking about what I would cook. And it kind of hit me that I never had to think about what I can cook and what I should use so that I can sustain myself through the rest of the week with the rest of the food that I have. And that kind of hit me.
My experience today was a lot more negative than the first day. I was running a little bit late for school this morning and I wasn't able to make myself breakfast at home. So I couldn't really eat before I went to school at all, and then when I was in class I was really hungry, so my stomach was growling out loud and I couldn't focus on the material that my professor was giving us. My energy levels were really low and I wasn't able to pay attention at all, so it really affected me today.
Today, honestly, only having the banana for lunch was kind of hard, and I kind of realized that it's really difficult to figure out things that you want to pack if you're going somewhere. My energy levels were super low today because I didn't eat anything except for that banana all day until I got home at around 7. I feel like I still have enough food to last me the rest of the week. I think it's just that it's not really stuff that you normally would eat, and taste-wise, it's not the best. And I kind of wish that I could make it taste a little better, or I could have something to snack on, and that's not really available to me at the moment.
You know, honest to God, I'm pretty hungry. Like, I'm constantly, like, thinking about this project because it's, I don't know, it's hard. There's just not enough food, really, that I'd like on my normal diet. It's not like this, and nobody's normal diet should be like this with very limited amount of food. Almost hard to concentrate on other stuff right now. Like, the tummy's always rumbling, and I'm always thinking about how little food I have for the week. So yeah, I don't know.
Cooking my dinner right now. Just heard the microwave. You guys are gonna be so surprised with what I made today. I bet you'll never guess what it is. Oh, let's look. Mashed potatoes. Again, for the 3rd time in a row. Not really liking mashed potatoes too much anymore. But yeah, it's fine.
I really would not want to live on the EBT card. You do get a lot of food, or you do get some food on it, but I realized that I wasn't able to cook the things I like the way I want them. I was really hungry in between meals, which affected my concentration and my energy levels. If it wasn't enough for you or your family, you would have to drive to a food shelf and go through that process.
I started shaking because I got so hungry last night around 10, and I guess I just hadn't eaten that well all day, even though I thought I did. But I guess all that food that I was eating throughout the day yesterday was mostly just empty calories. So I think maybe that was what made me so hungry at night. So I had to make myself this mac and cheese thing that I was eating, which may, have an impact later in the week where I just don't have food. But that was, I just had to. I was so hungry.
I wanted some fruit, so I have these mandarin oranges, these Marish mandarin oranges, whole segments in light syrup. I mean, there's 20 grams of sugar in this one can. That's way more sugar than anybody needs in the morning. 3.5 servings, so that'd be about 20, 40, 60, 70 grams of sugar for one can. That's like as much sugar, that's more sugar than a can of soda.
Lately, I have been starting to feel like kind of sluggish, and I've been getting a lot of headaches, and I don't know if that's because of what I'm eating, but I do feel like sometimes it's like kind of an iron problem, that I'm not getting enough iron in my diet. So it might be something that's contributing to what I'm eating. But overall, it's been pretty okay today. I felt like I had enough to eat, made sure that I was ready, and I had a plan of what I was going to eat today, because for the past couple of days I've just been eating the same thing. I've just been eating mashed potatoes, and that's probably not good.
So I made chili last night with some of the stuff I had, because a lot of the canned food I was able to make chili with it, and it wasn't typically the way I would make chili. Like, I didn't have habanero or any of the good spices that typically put in, so it tasted a little bit different, but it worked. I still have food, and I have a couple more days left, so I mean, that's good. I got food, I just don't have a lot of variety.
My energy level isn't up there, and it sucks because we had to choose to do this on like close to the end time for our classes, and now I'm stuck eating crap food and worrying about a rumbly stomach while I have to do a whole bunch of work and stay up late at night and do work, and it's no way to live, especially, and I'm only thinking of the people who, you know, who don't have a college education, and they're trying to provide for a family, and they're working late nights, and they're working all the time, and they gotta put food at, like, I mean, that's a lot of stress.
Every single person that goes to the food shelf kind of gets the same amount of food. So if I were like a single person going to the food shelf, I would get the same amount as a football player who goes to the food shelf. And I was thinking about it, and I don't really think that I would have a problem with the amount of food that was given to me, but there are definitely some people who would have a problem, and they wouldn't be able to live off of what food I was able to get. If you have a family where you have 3 kids and they're boys, they're probably going to eat more than 3 girls. So the way that the EBT system hands out, you know, money on EBT cards, and the way that food shelves hand out food isn't different based on each family. It's kind of just all around, this is what you get, sorry. There's things like, okay, it's my son's birthday this week, and, you know, I can't get him a cake because we don't have enough. It's just not individualized, and you can't have the things that you want, and you don't necessarily have enough food depending on who you are and who your family is. Maybe this system isn't working. Maybe I can live off of this system and, like, you know, have enough food for the week, but other people, maybe they can't.
All right. It's Monday, and that's it. That's all I have. Just this can of green beans, canned tomato soup, and a couple slices of bread. Happy it's over. It was hard. I was able to get 3 meals a day, but I like to eat more, and with high energy levels of thinking and stuff going on, it's hard to eat that level of food, that small amount of food for a week, let alone, I can't even imagine living off it. It's tough.
The 1 week was tough. Balancing being a full-time student with a job and multiple senior projects was pretty difficult, and it made me realize that, you know, the system probably doesn't work. And with, you know, so many people working as hard as me, and some people working even harder with little return, there's no way people can live happy, sustainable, and healthy lifestyles like that.
I got enough food throughout the week, and I also ended up having a little leftover afterwards, but most of it was pasta and potatoes and things that weren't a big variety, really. And I also had a lot of stuff that had a lot of sugar and salt in it, which made me crave that throughout the week. So
it wasn't really healthy and sustainable in that way. Very unhealthy, actually, with all the sugar and salt that was in there. Some of the stuff had more than the daily recommendation of sugar in it in just one portion of it. So it's not healthy.
So honestly, the food that I was eating over this week didn't really make me feel healthy, and oftentimes I could probably say that I felt really drained, and low energy was a big problem for me because I always felt really tired. I felt like I had enough food, but it wasn't really good food. And if we were really being realistic, I've been eating with like a strict allowance, but I wouldn't say that I've been living like a person who really is in need of a SNAP diet program, because I've had a roof over my head and I've been able to pursue my education, and I haven't been worried about my health or my personal hygiene, and I still could do everything that I really needed to do, and I had everything while many of those who are in poverty don't.
So through my own experience this week, I was unable to focus in class because of how my hunger affected my concentration and energy levels. So food insecurity is something I've always felt passionate about, but experiencing it firsthand, even if it was just for 1 week, gave me a personal awareness towards the issue that I had never really felt before this. I think it's easy to say that we as a country should fix the issue of food insecurity, but the problem becomes much more urgent when you live in the shoes of a food insecure individual and you hear your own stomach growling rather than somebody else's.
Food insecurity is a serious problem in America, and in Duluth, Minnesota in particular. With the experiences our team had over the week of eating emergency food, it's obvious that people can't rely solely on SNAP benefits. They would need that extra help from food shelves. However, our team still wanted to make the feeling of food insecurity as real as possible, and we believe we achieved a level of that by using SNAP benefits. Even Scott talked about how normal it was for the people visiting CHUM to also have SNAP benefits. They need both resources to feed their families because, frankly, one option is not enough. It doesn't seem to be right that the community has to organize food shelves when in many cases it isn't a real substantial option for the food insecure. Maybe these options together can help sustain a person, but the programs on their own are not enough. We need to see a change in the future with the way emergency food programs are dealt with. In the words of Jane Poppendike, they are only a band-aid to the solution. So, did we answer our question? Are emergency food programs good for providing a sustainable diet? Absolutely not. Food is a basic need that's at the center of our culture, our celebrations, our holidays, and of course, our survival. People don't deserve to be hungry. They never did. They deserve the opportunity to live happy and healthy lives.